Hey, and welcome back to the weekly tasting. I'm Laura, and I think you need to have this pack in your wine cellar because this week I'm talking about wine list staples. These are things that you should always have in your house, especially if you entertain a lot, or this is a good pack to give a host or hostess if you're going over to someone's house for dinner. So I always like to talk about this. There are some wines that no matter what, people love. They are crowd pleasers. They're things that really are great and versatile for a wide variety of dishes. And this week's pack, I included all of those wines so that it's an easy host or hostess gift, or it's something that you might want to stock in your own cellar. In this pack, you're getting a sparkling wine, because who doesn't love to serve fried food or salty food, or somebody gets engaged or pops by your house, you need a bottle of bubbles. So this is Crémant de Bordeaux from France. It's a delicious sparkling wine alternative to champagne. And then for the Pinot Noir drinker, I'm including a Pinot Noir from one of the hottest new wine producing regions in the United States. Well, it's not that new, but it's called the Willamette Valley, and everyone loves Pinot Noir from the Willamette Valley. It's kind of halfway between a Burgundy and a California wine in terms of the ripeness of fruit and the earthy nature. And then Chianti Classico, because Italian wine is some of the best wine when you're cooking. If it's a Sunday supper and you just want to make a pot of sauce with some pasta, I think a bottle of Chianti is almost always sure to please even the most finicky wine drinker that likes the earthy wines. And then Malbec, because if you're not serving food, a bottle of Malbec is big and rich and supple, but you don't need any kind of fat to cut through the tannin. So if you're just drinking a glass of wine on a Friday night, Malbec is a great wine that people that love big wines love to drink. This week's pack is all about your wine cellar staples. There are a few people I know that don't love Pinot Noir, and Pinot Noir is one of the most well-known and celebrated red wine producing grapes in the world. Pinot Noir is somewhat fickle and hard to grow, and as a result, it really thrives in cool climates. So the most famous regions for Pinot Noir include Burgundy in France, and the Willamette Valley in Oregon, and of course our own California. So Pinot Noir, what's it supposed to taste like? So sour red fruit, cranberries, strawberries, cherries. What's beautiful about Pinot Noir and what makes it a wine list staple that you want to have on hand at all times is that it has low tannin. That light tannin or silky quality that you often find in Pinot Noir makes it a perfect and very versatile wine. If you're serving pasta, if someone has tuna, if someone wants chicken, and or even if someone wants like a lighter cut of meat like beef tenderloin, this is a really great wine. And so Pinot Noir is generally a lighter bodied wine, light in color, kind of see through it. It's got that cherry, strawberry, raspberry. It's really pretty and mushroomy. Sometimes has a little bit of forest floor or beet quality, especially when it's grown in the Willamette Valley. It's so delicious. It's silky, a bright freshness on the sides of your tongue, like acidity, but the tannins or the drying sensation in your mouth is almost non-existent. So this is a really great wine to serve with or without food. I'm pretty sure you love champagne, and you might be wondering, how can I find a wine that is just as good as quality of champagne but maybe a third of the price? Well, there's a wine producing style which is called Crémant, and Crémant as a name means that it's a sparkling wine and it's made in France, but it's made outside of the Champagne region. So there are many regions that produce Crémant. If you know some of the famous regions of France, you know there's Burgundy, there's Alsace, there's the Loire Valley, and there's also Bordeaux. And when you make a sparkling wine in any of those regions, you would be calling it Crémant de, and the region follows. So in this case, this is Crémant de Bordeaux. What's beautiful about the sparkling wines made outside of Champagne, but still made in France, is that they all follow this traditional style of making bubbly wine, which is called Method Traditional. And this is the case in this bottle of wine here. But the really fun part is you get to try the local grapes from the region made into a sparkling style. So in Bordeaux, you have a grape called Semillon, which is used to make some of the most beautiful white wines. And this is a blend of Semillon, Cabernet Franc, which is one of the red grapes, and a wine called Muscadel. And I love to serve the bubbly wines even in a wine glass like this. So if you just pour yourself a taste, you'll see a really fine mousse, nice and bubbly. Smell on the nose, it's yeasty, apple, pear, has a refreshing and kind of fresher bubble, and plenty of biscuity and toasty acidity. Is racy, but it's a little bit fuller and a little bit more textural than some of your champagne styles. I think this would be a great way to welcome people into your home when somebody just pops by unexpectedly and you want to celebrate. So the first time I ever sold a bottle of wine at Cork Buzz in my own restaurant, the first ticket that came in the night we were open was Malbec, and there's a reason for it. Malbec is a crowd pleaser. It is a big red wine that does not have big tannin, which lends itself really well to wine bars. But more importantly, it is a juicy red wine that just looks opaque in color and dark and purple. However, it has a soft tannin. So that's why it's like really not food dependent. So anyway, in this case we have a Finca, which is known as a winery, Monteflores, which is from Argentina. And the most famous wine producing region in Argentina is Mendoza. So you have to take a little quick trip in a plane across the Andes from Buenos Aires. And Argentina is really well known for producing Malbec. And more specifically, the Andes Mountains, as you go higher and higher up in elevation, you find Malbec that has like just beautiful floral tones. So in this case, I have a little bit of purple flowers, violets, grape. Like, it's one of those grapes, the only grape that smells grapey, but not in a like unsophisticated way. It's just like pure grapes, violets, deep dark cocoa, chocolate. It's amazing, full-bodied without the tannins. I really think that this is one of those wines that if you're going to a Cabernet drinker's house, or if you're drinking wine with Pinot Noir lovers, you bring a bottle of Malbec, everyone's happy. Some of the first wines I learned about to sell, to drink, to serve my guests when I started out in the restaurant business were Italian. And more specifically, there's no more household name than Chianti Classico. In this case, I'm sending Chianti Classico Riserva. And what I love about this wine and why I think it's a staple that you should always have in your wine cellar is that it's the earthy, light red wine. It's the pasta night, it's the pizza night, it's the bring a bottle of wine over to your sister-in-law's house. And this is a beautiful example. So Famiglia Castellani, right? Chianti Classico, from the heart of the region. Riserva just means that it spent an extra year aging. And you have this garnet color that's very true to Italian wines. You can kind of read through it. You would imagine it's the body of a Pinot Noir, but it's a little bit more acidic, a little bit more tannic, and a little bit more earthy, which is really great, especially if you're making tomato sauce. It has the sun-dried tomato aroma and basil. Generally, and in this case too, Chianti Classicos are aged in older oak, not new barrique, so they tend to have a more savory quality, just like you can imagine pasta sauce on a Saturday night. Taste is medium bodied, has a lip smacking acidity, makes you pucker. The dry and dusty tannins make you kind of crave food. So you could imagine making bolognese and having that meat sauce, or even having like sausage in your tomato sauce and thinking this is a perfect wine. It's a wineless staple for sure. It is a hard job, but someone's got to do it. And I'm so excited that I'm the ambassador for your palate and that I get to taste wines from all over the world and sort through them so you don't have to. In this pack, this is called Wineless Staples, and these are things that you always want to have in your wine cellar and always can give this pack for any wine drinker and anyone that loves wine. Thank you so much for your trust in me. I hope you enjoyed this week's pack.